Hi guys, welcome back to Nichful Thinking. My name is Nichelle, Ohshells on all social media, and I'm your host. This is a podcast all about what I be thinking, child. Over here, we like to develop, we like to self-reflect, we like to understand just like what am I missing, or what do I get now, or how do I change this about myself, or how do I love this about myself, etc., etc., etc. And this batch of episodes, this is like what we call the Divine Swag series. The last episode, I talked heavily about onboarding because in the beginning, honestly, the birth of Nichful Thinking, it gave like, okay, I need to release, right? I need to release things. There's things that are already offboarded. And so this section of the pod is going to be more so about onboarding. One of the things that I kept thinking about was identity and what happens when you grow out of an identity. I didn't plan this video. Okay. So this is going to be a true Nichful Thinking episode where like my free thinking and those of you who like to just hear me yap, yeah, this is the episode for you, honey. I mean, that's just kind of what it is over here. But I was thinking about, and I made a video about this, where I spoke about when I was younger, I was extremely shy, like painfully shy. I would feel the anxiety shoot through my little body. I remember being like 4 years old, and my mom was like, if you want a candy or lollipop, we was at like a store or something like that. She's like, you got to go ask the man right there. She's talking in front of the dang cashier. I'm like, oh my God, there was a lump forming in my throat. I was like, I don't want the candy no more. Like, don't do that. Nope. Like, it was terrifying having a stranger perceive me, let alone me having to say something. I was someone who was like, tell me what to do, teach me where to go. And in the first batch of episodes, you'll hear some of those story times where I was I was the best little victim for those who like to control stuff. I'll be like, yeah, control everything. Yeah, you can control me too. Yeah, tell me where to go. Like, I was literally such a little wimp. And so was reflecting back to myself and I was like, wait, there was a time when, or wait, I used to really feel like these realizations. And so I was super inspired to just sit down, press record, and get into it. Let's just talk about what it feels like and looks like to outgrow an identity, but then to onboard a new one. So, episode, I believe, 38, last week, we spoke about some homework that I wanted everyone to do. And essentially, the journal entry kind of homework of that day was to create a job description for the you that you're stepping into, the identity that you are now taking on. As a human being, the being part of human, the being part, that's so funny, the being part of human, the being part is more so like the state of your spirit, is how I view it. And the human part requires, identities and like activities and like all the things that we put on. Like Audre Lorde talks about the intersectionality of identity. Let me actually quote Audre Lorde because it all connects to what I'm getting at in this episode. Audre Lorde, a self-described Black lesbian mother warrior poet, was a foundational pioneer of intersectional feminism. Long before the term was formally coined, she criticized second wave feminism for ignoring the compounding realities of race, class, and sexuality, asserting that there is no hierarchy of oppressions. So there was this ideology that I learned when in one of my women and gender studies classes. We studied Audre Lorde, and this topic of intersectionality really started tickling a part in my brain where I was like, yeah, we're all like webs of identity. There's all this like web hood of identity. And when you start thinking in a hierarchy kind of way, that's patriarchy, you know? And so for me, it's like it's way more complex than that. It's way more like the intersectionalities that make up our identity. I'm Black, I'm a woman, I'm a Christian, but I'm also very spiritual and open and free in my relationship with God. I am a Jersey girl. I was born in the Bronx, though. I have a long history of family from Barbados and Antigua. I have a long history of family who started in the United States of America. I had, well, 13 colonies, you know. I come from a grandfather who was a veteran. I come from, it's like there's so many building blocks of what makes you you. To think about it in a hierarchy is just not, it cuts off so much of the nuances that make us us. And so when you are stepping into a new identity or a new role, or you feel yourself morphing and changing, you have to be able to articulate what that change is at some point, right? I feel like stumbling into things or like happenstance is one thing, but in order to be sturdy in it and have a foundation of like, I know who I am, those type of like I am statements, you really want to be able to like understand, honor, and recognize all of the other pieces that make up that person. So back to what I was saying before, the journal entry was to write down a job description. I have an HR background. I was a recruiter for a long time. So for me, I will speak in HR code, and a little bit of what I've learned during my career actually helped me implement the mind state that I have today. So find those parallels, because you might find that you ended up in a certain industry for a specific reason. Maybe not to stay in that industry, but to transfer over those skills for your purpose life. So I'm just, just imagine with me, all right? So yes, qualifications, write down the requirements of that person and put the title. Like what is the role that you were stepping into? For me, I know that I'm a natural born leader. I've always felt a little bit more comfy being like the assistant. I'm happy to help, that kind of energy. But in my 30s, I've come to realize like I'm a leader. I've been in scenarios where people have expected me to take on the lead for things, and I could feel the energy. I've been in scenarios where people were dead wrong, and I've had to address it. And the response is very like either defensive or like, oh, I'm in trouble. I've had scenarios where I could see a better way. I could see a different kind of strategy, or I have questions to ask that will probably drum up a different way of looking at something. But I respect leadership and, tenure. And if you've been in this role for X, Y, and Z, like I've been in enough of those scenarios to know that like I am a leader. People do look to me, and I am very much so stepping into that role. But my job description at the top would say leader. It would say like motivational psychology professor, if you will. Motivational psychology. Let me Google that real quick. It's so funny that dropped back into my head, because I was on a meeting like 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and one of our interns that I am supporting, kind of helping get up and running, and basically like their lead, if you will. Like, the intern was speaking a little bit about their background, and they started speaking about motivational psychology, and my ears was like, ooh, there's a connection there. There's a connection there. And this is after I filmed the episode last week talking about what are you onboarding, and that motivational psychology just kind of like blew, like it clicked. I was like, ooh, that got something to do with me. I immediately jotted it down, because I'm a writer downer. I'm a journal about it. I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna see what comes up from that. I just Googled it, motivational psychology. It is the scientific study of why and how human behavior is activated, energized, and directed towards specific goals. I am obsessed with that topic. That's literally my why. That's literally my purpose, is to like literally be like the cheerleader in the room, really studying the core of people and understanding what makes them motivated. Even as a recruiter, when I was in staffing, that was a big part of my job. It was like, what are your must-haves? What are the things that get you going? I used to say this like my own little script of like, if you could think of anything, like talk to me, like Nichelle, honestly, like if I could get a job that X, Y, and Z, like really imagine with me, really talk me through what it is that you're looking for. And I've done that for so many people. And it's something about 30. Like now I'm like, oh wait, there's me too. What is that job description, Nichelle? What is that thing that you're like, I could do this until 4 o'clock in the morning and I don't need no sleep. This is what get me going. And it truly is helping people, filling in gaps, rewriting like what we were taught, and rethinking about it in different ways, utilizing the world around us, utilizing cinema and books and the Bible, and like hearing a conversation on the street, and like what is it that, you know what I mean? Like, what am I missing? Like, that's why I think I was so excited and so happy when I would be in classes like history or be in classes like math. I took quantitative psychology in college, and those like equations and like it's just the problem solving of it all. I don't want to just know 1+1=2. I want to know what one means. You understand me? I want to know what's that symbol? That's the addition symbol. What is the definition of addition? Like literally, I'm Googling stuff right now as we speak. Like that's something that I feel like has always, well, I would say in the beginning, it was like a defense mechanism. It was like, let me get ahead of everything so that I could be the perfect representative of what this person needs so that they can feel good, right? Like, I want to be liked, I want to be accepted, I want to feel like I belong. So let me do everything I can to try to get that result. And then it morphed into like, I don't put in the reps of doing that so much. It's kind of fun. It kind of gets me going to understand the routine, the steps, the choreography to this specific thing, the core reason, X, Y, and Z. So that's what I put on my job description, honey. I want to get to the core. Like, I want to do more research. Like, I want to see how these things connect. If you listen to past episodes, I've made a lot of connections from Mother Nature and also like the human being, if you will. I talk about that being a part of how I think about even the Bible, where the Old Testament is your old life or your first life. The New Testament embodies your new life, your fresh life when you're walking in your purpose. The first mind is very self-deprecating or very like, oh, if you do this, then this is going to happen. It's very like you're in trouble. And then the second mind is more so like, this is real, this is me. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be now. You know what I mean? I'm totally in that episode of SpongeBob where the magic conch is like, do nothing. I'm going to just continue being, and the human will follow. You understand me? You picking up what I'm putting down? If you do, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure y'all follow the podcast either on Apple or Spotify and comment. Like, I feel like people are so afraid to comment these days. I don't know what identity or what people are. Well, no, let me take a second. There's a element in this day and age of not wanting to be perceived, and when you are engaging or commenting or supporting something, a lot of folks look left and right, including myself sometimes, right, to like make sure it's a part of the norm, or like it's a part of, it's like safe to do. It's like a safety thing is what's coming up for me right now. And I think if more creatives and people that are making content speak and create from the childlike nature within them, and they think about what energizes them and pushes that out into the digital space, pushes that out into the face-to-face events that they're a part of, et cetera, it will probably draw in more folks who are in that in between. I forget which episode it was where I spoke about there being a 15% of folks who are champions of a thing. There's 70% of people who are kind of in the middle. You know, they could go either way. They could kind of leap over into the champion side, or they kind of like on the fence. And then you have people, the 15%, who are just like detractors. They're 100% against the thing. There are 15% of people on this earth. I will put it into this perspective because that's an HR stat. When an organization is looking to roll out a new process, policy, et cetera, it's kind of ingrained in a professional's mind that we're going to have like at least 15% of the people who are like on board, ready to do it. Like, okay, yeah, change is happening. Great. Like I can achieve all things. Then you have some people who kind of on the fence. Well, let me see it first. I got to see it to believe it, right? You got that 70% there. Then you have the 15% of people who are like, that's dumb. That will never happen. Why are you still doing this? Why is change even happening? I like the old way. I'm way more comfortable here. I would never, right? And so you got to A, know where you fall, B, know where you want to be, and C, do it to your best ability. All right. If you're going to be the first 15 or the last 15, do it to the best of your ability. I always say, even Judas did his job. All right. All right. Let's get back. So, yes, motivational psychology. Understand the psychology of self and what motivates you, because saying I don't know will have you blink and you will be stuck in the same job, metaphorically, the same job description with the same qualifications and the same requirements staring at you. And we not doing that. What do I say? What did I say before? You go back, you die. You stay right where you at, you die. But if you move forward, onboarding is about moving forward. It's not about rejecting or like acting like you don't still have certain feelings or whatever. It's about just being dedicated to the move forward. Okay? Stay active. If for me, see, when I say stuff like that, I remember I used to watch like people talk about like new identities and like, I'm not like that no more. Like, that's not me. Like, da, 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 da. For me specifically, there's reminiscences. There's shadows. There's like, when you eat Cheetos and there's still little orange specks at the bottom of the bag, there's still little orange specks at the bottom of the bag of all the identities that you've taken on throughout life. And that's something to respect, honor and to be like, thank you. I see you and I know you there and I love you. And I'm so glad that we are now in a different space. Because when you're able to have that conversation with the old job descriptions, with the old identities of you, and you're able to not feel a ping in your stomach, like the pit of your stomach, or you're not feeling shame. Oh, shame and fear used to like choke me. It used to grab me by my neck, like, please. When you when you are just like anything somebody brings up, I am more than capable to talk about it or to take it head on, or anything that comes up in my own mind is like, I already gave that to God. I already accepted that about me. I already like that about me. I already, you understand me? You got to be like, yeah, that's not even me no more. It's not, nah, because that's not me. And you try to convince yourself. No, it's peaceful. It's a gratitude that comes with it. There's a respect that comes with it. And so in this episode, I just want to really encourage people to think about their job descriptions that hopefully they journaled about from our last episode, from our last piece of homework, and reflect on it. Reflect on it. I'll leave off with this. I spoke to my firm manager. I'm a consultant, and so one of my clients, I'm looking to get a little bit more chicken. You know what I mean? I'm like, I want more money. And my manager, she told me, she was like, listen, I 100% want to advocate for you. I 100% want to make sure that we do increase, the compensation. What I need for you to do is to jot down all of the things that you did at the start of this project, of this, client, and kind of all the work that you have done since then, like the things that weren't a part of the original scope of work. What are the additional bullet points that we can add to showcase the growth in the role so that I have leverage and I'm able to articulate the why behind why you should get a raise. And so I'm thinking about it now where I'm like, that's exactly what I'm talking about in this episode. We have a start point, and the start point is always an end point, right? Because I didn't start at this job. I started before Rutgers, before I went to college, before I got my degree, before like, but this point, right? When we signed up for this, what was the scope? Now you talking about you want more currency, you want more time currency, you want more love, you want more abundance, you want more you know what I mean, you want more chicken, like, you know what I mean? Let's see where we at today. Let's write that down and let's speak to the growth is essentially what she was saying. Yeah, I love the parallels because literally what happens in my workday or my job or in the mundane day-to-day stuff is where all the like the messages and the magic is at. Like that just connected so much for me. Yeah. Write those job descriptions, write down those titles, those identities, understand what the growth is, and understand what am I trying to say? Like, you can look at this two ways where you are in a space where you're like, who am I? You can jot down the things that you're about, the things that you stand for, and the role that you play in your life and in the lives of others. You can also write from a perspective of then versus now and understanding your value is the growth that has happened. So you keep compounding on top of the growth, right? It's not necessarily when we say it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Yeah, let's look at that meat, that growth piece. There was a time where my heart would be going like this, and I would be like, oh, I don't know what to, I don't even want to embody that version of myself. To today, please, I'm on TikTok like, yeah, because like what? Like that would blow my mind. Like 6-year-old Nichelle is like, that's insane. That sounds like a dream. Like that is not real. Like, you know what I mean? And so I know for a fact that I've gone through things so that I'm able to speak to it and connect to a lot of different people, just like Nichelle Nichols in Star Trek, where she was like the communicator across all the galaxy. Like I'm so passionate about being able to connect to folks. And I know that's a part of my job description. That's a part of my like purpose. And so I want you to think about that as well. What is something that baby you would be like, whoa, you could do this, and think very granular. I'm talking about shyness was for me, painfully shy. Do I get bashful sometimes? Yeah, but it's nothing like that, right? What's that thing that 5, 6, 7-year-old you, 4-year-old you would be like, yo, you're wow. Wow, your discipline, that's different. I never knew you could get like that. Or your care for your body and your health. Wow, that's wow. I used to think that was impossible. I used to think that was gonna be like the hardest thing ever. I'm talking about inner beauty, the inner growth, because it materializes outside. It just does. It just does. And I'm someone who I really want to encourage people to take the long way around. And when I say the long way around, I mean inner work and then outer work. I was never someone who was like, I'm gonna hustle hard and I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. No, but people perceive me as that kind of individual because the inner work that I was doing, oh, it was extreme. And you could feel it and you could see it and you could smell it. There's people that's gonna start being like, oh, she don't even gotta do nothing. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for people to think that you ain't gotta even do nothing. Oh, she always getting everything she want. Like, thank you, God, that I do not look like what I've been through. Like, thank you. Have I worked hard? Yes. Okay, getting a degree, being on the dean's list damn near every single semester, being in AP classes, honor classes. I worked hard. Okay, being a part of nonprofits and organizations and being a community leader and leaving all of that and getting still and being with me and crying on my knees and journaling and trying to figure it out and telling everybody I'm busy. I'm busy. Yeah, it was hard. It was hard work. But damn, am I happy I took the long way around. You never want to feel like a fake. You never want to feel like a phony. I'm going to say what my mom said, Cheryl Hawkins. I don't respect a thief and I don't respect a liar. Don't take someone else's identity. Don't take somebody else's swag. Everyone got their own divine swag. You want to be able to stand on a solid foundation of self, of you. Okay? I knew at a young age the last thing I ever wanted to do was claim something that I'm not, that I can't stand on, that if somebody asks me too many questions about, I'm going to be dropping like a paper plane. Like, no. I want to be sturdy and serious in what I say. I don't ever want to feel like a liar. I don't want to ever fall victim of imposter syndrome. I don't want to ever feel like I stole something from somebody in order for me to be, oh, hell no. And my naivete, man, I was over here thinking like people really are who they say they are. Like I gotta get me together. Whole time, you know what I mean, Jelly Bean. So yeah, I really pray that somebody received what they needed from this episode because I feel extremely energized from this episode. And for the journal entry homework today, if you didn't already, go ahead and fill out your job description. If you did that already, then I want you to think through the growth, right? I want you to write a letter to your 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old self. I mean, we could go to 15, 16, 17, 18, however you want to look at it. Write to yourself and speak as if you are in awe. Girl, let me tell you. Remember when? I don't even think that no more. I don't even feel that no more. I ain't really saying nothing to nobody yet, but like, talk, do that. All right, that's your journal entry. At the top is going to be your, whatever age you're speaking to, and get that relationship popping. All right, all right. As always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. You can follow us at Nichful Thinking, NichfulThinking. You can also follow me, your host, at Ohshells on all social media, OHSHELLS. Email me, nichfulthinking@gmail or Ohshells17@gmail. Honestly, I'm just happy to connect, so let's do that. All right? Love you. Mean it. Bye.